maybe. Let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal. Go, 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 go. Six. It's beautiful. Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
Happy Monday. Happy St. Patrick's Day. This is the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive. Thanks for listening at therushladio.com. If you are watching on YouTube, give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and set up those notifications so you know when we come on the air. Also, you can follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm Travis Justice. He is Ross Peterson. What's going on there, buddy?
Not much, bud. How are you?
You know, it's been...
How's weekend of vacation? Do you even know it's the weekend when you're on vacation?
Yeah, a little bit. It's because now I'm packing and I'm getting ready to come home, and I'm ready to be back in the studio in my friendly confines where I have better control over everything. Because I have a little control freakness, so I'm just ready to come home. So we went to a farm yesterday, about I'd probably say 80, 90 miles away. We took a train, and this is the first time, Ross, it hit me. They had a Great Pyrenees. I have a Great Pyrenees, and so I missed my dog. It was really weird. It looked exactly like Arlo, and I told Anjanette, I go, man, I'm ready. I'm ready to go home. I miss my dog.
That's Trav, look at you showing a heart. I tell people all the time. He has a heart. He has one. I promise.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, but
I was gone. I was only gone for the weekend, just a couple of days. I didn't have time to miss the dog.
You had time to enjoy not having the dog. And I think it's funny how you go through that, right? I mean, the first couple of days, I'm like, oh, we have zero responsibility. Greta was not with us. We don't have the kids. We don't have the dog. Don't have to take care of everything. And then after a while, I'm coming up on 2 weeks. That's the crazy thing. I'm coming up on 2 weeks, and that's a long time. And so it just kind of hit me, and I've spent way more money than I wanted to on this trip. So I'm like, I rarely buy wine, and this time I bought a lot of wine because our mutual friend Pat is like, hey, buy some wine, we'll split it. And so I'm like, okay, and then I bought a lot more wine than I normally do.
So okay. You buying wine and then having it shipped back home?
Yeah, have it shipped. Yeah, and so that the shipping cost a lot more money. And the good thing is I bought it when I did because the tariffs are going to go into. He just taxed like the EU on everything, the tariffs. So shipping's going to go up for a lot of people. They're worried here because a lot of these small wineries rely on Americans to ship their wine over. And
what did it cost for you to send a bottle of wine? To buy a bottle of wine and ship it to Omaha, Nebraska.
So you have to buy in a minimum of 6 bottles, okay? Because they won't. So it basically comes out to $10 a bottle. So
that's not bad at all.
Well, you buy a bottle for $50, it turns into $60, and then you do that times 6. Or in this case,
no. Okay. Answer my question, Senator.
Okay.
How much money did it cost you to send the wine back home?
Well, I went to different wineries. I'd probably say we're around $300-400.
Okay.
So.
All right. Now you're creeping into that area that I was afraid we were going to get into, right? Because at first when you started describing it, I was like, "Oh, Pat wanted a bottle of wine." You're getting your best buddy a really cool gift. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this would mean a lot to Pat. I'm going to get this bottle of wine. That's $50-60. Then Pat's like, hey, I'll split it with you. Well, hell, I'll just send 2 bottles. Well, there's a minimum of 6. Pat, you're getting a magnet.
That's what I should have said. Yeah, I think in the end, we're sending 45 bottles home. So that's
all right. Wait, okay. Now, wait a minute, Senator.
Okay, because we're splitting it. No, so the total shipping cost and everything is like $300-400, and then the wine on top of that. I've spent over $2,000 on wine. If you want to know.
Thank you, Senator.
No, you asked me shipping. You asked me shipping.
I did not. All right, I reclaim my time.
The gentleman from Nebraska yields the remaining of his 2 minutes to the gentleman from Iowa.
That's great.
We have not buried the lead. Okay, we know a lot of stuff happened over the weekend. Or is he talking about me burying the lead of $2,000 in wine?
No, I think Tyler was saying that. I think Tyler was like, wait, that's fun.
Yes.
I'm glad that is. That wow! Now, see, we were creeping into that area that I was worried about. Now we're way
above it.
This is what I tell people all the time. Travis has this way of like, he kind of brings you like, hey, you see where this line is, and you're like, oh man, he's gonna cross that line, isn't he? He's like, you see the line? Come a little closer to the line. Do you see the line? You're like, oh man, he's gonna cross the line, isn't he? And then Travis is like, yeah, I crossed the line a long time ago.
I crossed the line on day 2.
Just I'm way over there.
I crossed that line on day 2. Of course, a lot of stuff happened over the weekend. Of course, Fran McCaffery was fired on Friday. We'll get to that. But yesterday, the selection show happened. And Ross, Iowa State comes in as a number 3 seed, which is where we thought they would. We thought they'd be on a 3-4 line. They're on the 3 line. The big news is that Keyshawn Gilbert's not going to be playing in the NCAA tournament. So he is out for the NCAA tournament. That's a significant blow if you want to make a deep run. I'm not saying it's not possible to get to the Sweet 16. I think a deep run becomes a lot more difficult for Iowa State with Keyshawn Gilbert out.
I mean, and now I guess that's just the schematics of deep run and what that means. Obviously, you wish you had the guy. You're better off at full strength. I've seen some things out there that are like, oh, that we're going to be just, and I think they'll be fine without him. Not going to be. You wish you had him. I don't know what the right way to say this is. It's not going to prevent you. You're still going to beat Lipscomb. You're still going to Ole Miss, and what's that matchup that it doesn't matter. Your Sweet 16 is still absolutely the expectation for this team. And I think when I saw that thing pop up, I thought, oh, they can beat Michigan State.
I mean, you look at the South region they're in. It is by far, I think, this is my opinion, I think it's the toughest region in the bracket. You've got Auburn, that number 1 seed. Then you got Louisville taking on Creighton. That's an incredible matchup. Creighton,
Texas.
Then you got Michigan, San Diego, Texas A&M, Yale. Ole Miss will wait to see who it plays. Iowa State, Lipscomb, Marquette, New Mexico, and Michigan State and Bryant. That is a tough, tough region.
It is. When that popped up, first of all, again, I hate the by far. I don't think it's by far the toughest region. I think each one of these regions is difficult, and I guess I hadn't taken a step back to rank them in my mind. I'm just saying, when I saw Iowa State pop up there and I saw Michigan State pop up as that 2, my first thought was they can beat Michigan State. I've seen Michigan State play a couple times this year. Iowa State, that's a tough, really good team. Iowa State can beat Michigan State, even without Gilbert. Tougher job to do it without Gilbert? Absolutely. Yes. The draw as far as who they match up with, again, total feeling thing. But even looking at the other number 2s, you'd have had Alabama, St. John's, or Tennessee would have been the other ones. Of those teams, that's a good point. Is Michigan State the best of those teams? Maybe. They're all good.
They're all good.
I guess thinking of it like that, as I look at that, I don't think any of those teams would have made me go, oh, Iowa State's in trouble.
No, I don't think they're in trouble. I just think that added depth of Keyshawn Gilbert plays a huge factor. Yeah. I don't think, and this is going to be a question that I asked you, all year long we've been like, this is a Sweet 16 team or bust. Do we still feel that way? Because I kind of do.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, you're talking about beating Ole Miss.
Well, Chris Beard's Ole Miss will be Chris Beard's a hell of a coach.
I'm not saying, but yes, the expectation, absolutely, that's no doubt about that. even with the injury, and I would say barring, if Lipsy can't go, if something is wrong there, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, my God, we were so close to something special. I don't think I don't think that has changed yet, Trav. I really don't. I think that if you're an Iowa State fan, you're looking at that as you absolutely are looking at playing in the second weekend. And again, as an outsider, I look at that and go, you can beat Michigan State. You can beat Michigan State. Maybe something happens at the top of that bracket, or you're the team that beats Auburn. I'm not saying this is a Final Four or bust, and I'm not saying that your expectation should be Final Four. I'm saying that's the path that you're going to have to take now. I guess that's the other way to look at it. Like it or not, tough titty.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Michigan State and Auburn, if you want to do this thing.
Like it or not, that's the path you got to go. But I think the expectation hasn't changed because we've always said Sweet 16, then anything can kind of happen, right? It comes down to matchups, comes up to a lot of different things. But I think still, even without Keyshawn Gilbert, Sweet 16 is what this team was built for and can maintain.
I want to run something by you here. In fact, I played this for you, but we never do this before we come on where I'm like, oh, hey, but I played this because I thought this was really interesting. I don't know who these two guys were that I was listening to this morning. I was scrolling through my videos, and this thing popped up. I found this fascinating. There's this Magic Ken Pom formula. Since they've been running this Magic Ken Pom formula, 96% of the national champions have come from this formula. Okay? 9 teams in this year's tournament fit the formula. So, according to this Ken Pom Magic formula, these 9 teams have a 96% chance of winning the national title. They are Auburn, Florida, Houston, Duke, Texas Tech, Clemson, Arizona, Maryland, and Iowa State. Those are numbers that include Keyshawn Gilbert. I think the team and the formula is basically like
top 21 in offense, top
21 in offense, top 31 in defense, and then a few other metrics that fall into that. But if you fit into that, you have a 96% chance. That's the wrong way to put it. Teams that fit into that category win the national title 96% of the time.
Which is an incredible stat, and that shows you. We were talking. Everybody talks about analytics, and should you live and die by analytics? The answer is no. But at the end of the day, let's say you work in retail right now. Let's say you own a retail business. You own another business. You use analytics or a point of sale system. You know when your busy time is. You know kind of where you're going to be the busiest because the numbers don't lie. In the end, the numbers just don't lie.
Travis, analytics is what almost all of us, our business involves that or revolves around analytics. That's all I do. As a realtor, that's about all you do. You're analyzing comparative properties. You're analyzing the condition of a property. It's constant.
That's why comparables in your business are so huge. You could have the nicest house on the street. Doesn't mean you get to ask $400,000 more than what every other house is selling for on the street.
Unfortunately not. Man, I love that. How often, because Eli asked a lot of good questions as I'm moving through the day, and how often I say to him, so you know that term I say, location? There's a reason that they've simplified real estate to 3 words, and it's 1 word.
The Oakland A's approach would be buy the worst house on the street, right? And then flip it. I mean, that would, or if you do the work to it, you could probably improve it. Drake comes in and gets an 11 seed. Ben McCollum scheduled to join us around 7:30 today. And it was fun to watch the celebration at the Knapp Center because, Ross, even though you're going, right? I mean, they've been locked in for over a week now. Just to see the celebration of when your name is called, you realize how big of a deal that is for people. And Drake's matchup against Missouri is intriguing. One of 14 SEC teams to make the NCAA tournament. Think about the 14 teams. It's a record. I mean, you sit there and go, 14 teams. And I remember, I'm old enough to remember, and hell, most people listening to the show are old enough to remember when SEC basketball was horrible. I was watching Jay Billis yesterday. He's like, this is the best conference he's ever seen. And 14 teams. Remember a year ago when we were like, oh, Arizona's coming in, Utah's coming in, the Big 12 is going to rule college basketball. That wasn't the case. 14 of the 6.
It might be.
In the future. In the future. Yeah.
I'm not trying to push back on you made 14 teams, and who didn't they have because I was doing dishes as the show was going on, but wasn't one of the first 4 outs even? I mean, they were. What was the conversation that they had? I was thinking that there was even a 50. I was thinking there was another one. I was like, did they just put the whole conference in? In the South region, the SEC.
We're putting all 16 teams in the NCAA tournament.
So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. Do you like Drake's matchup with that? I don't know enough about Missouri to know if that's a good matchup or not. I think you're right. The passion, that is one of those things, man. It's got to hit close to home. When you see those reactions, they don't mean anything until it's close to you, until you see Des Moines, until you see Iowa's like that, then it means something. But when I'm watching it and they're showing the Villanova guys,
you're like, okay, you're not in anyway. Why are we going to see your sad faces? And Drake may have been more excited just because it was an 11 seed. They actually jumped up one higher than I thought they were going to be. I thought Drake was going to be a 12 seed, so I was off there. I like the matchup here. I don't know much about Missouri, but what I like is I think there's an opportunity. You give Ben McCollum, he reminds me a little bit of Dana Altman, and not the style of play, but the type of coach he is, and the fact that you give somebody with that kind of basketball brain a week to prepare, Ross, there's something to be said for really good X's and O's guys and how they can attack. And we've learned this Drake team's not it won't be intimidated going into the NCAA. The environment will be different. I mean, but it certainly won't be intimidated going into a game like this. Some teams have the Hoosiers effect, where you got to get out the tape measure and measure the rim and say, hey, I don't think Drake has that. I think Drake is poised for this. They've been in big games. They've when they hit a little bit of a losing streak earlier in the season, they rallied, went to St. Louis, took care of business. So I'm anxious to talk to Ben McCollum just about the atmosphere yesterday and preparing for the NCAA tournament, and just what do you tell your guys? Is it just, hey, just keep going? It's business as usual.
Is it chip on the shoulder?
Maybe.
Is it like, hey, we still got and first of all, there's still a lot to prove. Right? We haven't won anything yet. Let's go. And we've played big boy basketball all year long. We've played against these guys all year long and beat them, by the way. Didn't just play with the big boys. We've beat the big boys every time we've gotten the chance to do it. Is it that motivational thing if you're representing more than just the name on the front of your jersey right now? The Missouri Valley Conference could really use a good run from you boys.
And a good run, because you'd most likely play Texas Tech next, and Texas Tech falls into that your
into
category.
That Ken Palm magic thing. They were with Iowa State. That's a fantastic basketball team.
I think if the Valley gets one, I think if Drake gets a win, and you get a win against an SEC school, that's a run to me. You get to the field of 32. It's a pay point.
Trav, but that's from our perspective, man. You
True.
got to zoom out, right? And remember that. What does it mean? When does somebody get on our radar? When do we remember a UMBC? When do we remember a what was the Florida
Atlantic?
No.
Florida Gulf Coast.
Florida Gulf Coast.
They're the ones who dunked all the time. Yeah,
exactly. You got to have you got to do a couple games in this. Winning one is great, but that's an upset. win 2, beat Texas Tech, knock off one of those Magic Ken Pom teams. Now all of a sudden it's like, hey, you know, if you guys pay attention to this, and by the way, Ben McCollum's the hot name for every job in America.
Every job in America.
Yeah, I think 2 wins is kind of that magic sauce from this point on. Honestly, for both Iowa State and Drake. For Drake, it's you got nothing to lose. It's all house money from now on, right? That's why it's interesting. I think maybe that's the thing for Ben McCollum is, boys, let it fly. This is it. This is it. Let it fly.
You've got nothing to lose.
Yeah, when we shake hands at the end of this, it's either over or we're planning for it. That's it. They don't think you got to tell them about, oh, man, boy, the Valley needs a big run from you. Or Drake needs a big run from you. No, this is about you, guys. This is about us in this locker room. We have spent years together, came over here together. Now we're here. Let's go have fun. Or dude, this is why they stopped letting me coach kids when they're like 9. Because I'm like, let's have fun, guys.
Wins or losses don't matter. Just go have fun. Make the most of the situation.
You know what's the most fun is winning, but if we didn't, we had fun doing it.
Maybe the biggest surprise, is who got left out. And I think a lot of people are looking at West Virginia this year and Darren DeVries as the team that was shockingly left out, only because North Carolina got in. North Carolina, I think, had one quad 1 win all year. West Virginia had some really, really good wins. Beat Kansas, beat Iowa State. I think they beat Texas Tech once. They had really good wins, and Darren had a statement that came out last night just voicing his disappointment, his shock that they were left out. But here's the deal. They did themselves no favors. You don't lose to Colorado in the first round of the Big 12 tournament. You just don't. You're talking about a really bad basketball team in Colorado. You got beat, and Carolina went deeper in the ACC tournament, and that just kind of gave them the edge. I think it was. I think if they would have beat Colorado, they would have been in. But, they're probably the most glaring team, Ross. North Carolina getting in, West Virginia being left out is probably the most glaring thing that people are talking about when it comes to getting in and getting out.
The committee chair is the North Carolina AD, so that was the first thing that people were freaking out about. They came right out and said, Tucker being hurt affected the decision on that team. That if he's not available, that team is not as good as they were the rest of the year, and they're exactly right. So what their reasoning was proved out exactly in what you just said. They're not a tournament team right now. Without Tucker, they're not ready to make a tournament run, and they don't deserve to be in a tournament. Do the other 14 guys there deserve it? Yes, they do. Does the team as a whole right now, are they one of the 68 best teams? No, and you proved that by losing to a really bad Colorado team in the first round of a mini simulation of what we're about to do here in the big dance. We said this, Travis, going into these conference tournaments it's a pretty good indication of what type of tournament team you are. Can you play tonight and then play tomorrow night and then play again? And if you can do that and play against really good competition and better competition each night, hey, that's what we're looking for. We want those teams to come play with us. That's not what West Virginia was here at the end of the year. And I as much of a conspiracy theorist as I am, first of all, I think we make a lot about these 68, 69 team, right?
Because even if you expand the tournament, you're always going to have somebody on the bubble. This is going to happen it happens in college football now, right? We go, okay, well, this team should have got in over this team. You're always going to have teams that are on the bubble. This won't go away even if you expand the tournament. You're always going to have teams that get left out. That's part of it.
Yeah.
I would agree with Corey, who said they played the entire Big 12 without Tucker. That might have been a lazy excuse. However, let me point a couple things out. Cooper Flagg from Duke, remember, he got hurt, right? They came out right away and said he will be playing in the NCAA tournament. Now, Duke won the ACC tournament, so that they bolstered their resume that way. But right away, they're like, Cooper Flagg's going to play. We knew that Tucker DeVries was going to play. Remember way back in the early 2000s, I think it was, that Cincinnati was docked big time because Kenyon Murray was out. Kenyon Murray was not going to play, and they docked the seeding wise. Did you notice that T.J. Otzelberger did not say Keyshawn Gilbert wasn't going to play until after the selection
he got
show?
the 3 seed.
Got the 3 seed.
I'm not the one telling you that Tucker DeVries not playing is the reason that West Virginia was left out. And again, I am a conspiracy theorist. I usually think we're being lied to about stuff. This checked to me. This total as soon I mean, first of all, I didn't think anything of it. I wasn't sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for West Virginia's name, I guess. Maybe that's a part of it. I didn't even think of West Virginia until the committee until they get done and they start to talk about that. All right, let's bring the committee chair in. They even had to have the co-chair there because they knew North Carolina was going to be the first question. And it was, let me talk about this. Let me think about this out loud for a second, because it was kind of funny, Trav. They bring the 2 dudes out, and the guy that's hosting the show says, "Hey, can we talk about how North Carolina? How he says I trust that it was all handled the right way. Can you talk about this?" And the guy basically goes, "I can't even talk about North Carolina." And the other guy's like, all right, I'll step in now. Okay, so this is how we came up with that. And I think he's actually the one that maybe mentioned. Was he the one that talked about it? Either way, in that moment was when they basically said, this is where we landed on West Virginia. So,
and I get why Darren's upset, because you have so many wins, you have the number of quad. You think you're doing the right thing, right? When you get the quad wins, but West Virginia didn't play great towards the end of the season, getting knocked out in the Big 12 tournament. Did not help them in any way.
Did yourselves no favors with that loss in the Big 12 tournament. And
yes.
That does seem to me to be a determining factor too, but what do I know?
Hey, before we head to break, we want to tell you about Absolute Garage and Closets, because we've been telling you about it, and now we got even a better deal for you. When you are ready to go and make your garage look the best, or your closets look the best, you can just call in, set your first appointment, say you heard about it on The Rush, and get 10% off. And that's a hell of a deal. That is one hell of a deal.
I've tried to tell people about Marty. First of all, Marty doesn't do sales like this. This is a really special deal because he's been a fun partner so far and a great partner. If you don't know where to start, go to Marty. Marty is like what was Dragnet? Just the facts, ma'am. Wasn't that Dragnet?
Yes. Yeah.
Marty reminds me of like Dragnet. He's not a salesman at all. He is going to walk in and say, if you want to make this the best utilization of your space, this is what you need to do. Your garage, they have about 10 products that you can do in your garage, and maybe that will make your life easier in some way, shape, form, or fashion. It's all a lot more affordable than you might think, and with a 10% discount. The great question, Travis, that is, what is your time worth? How much is because Marty is going to make your life easier. You're going to leave for work one day. It's white glove service. You're going to come back from work and everything's done. You're going to be like, oh, that was there the whole time?
And then once your work is done, you're going to be able to manage your own time while you're working in the garage, or your closet's going to be so much more organized. So check out Absolute Closets and Garage, and you'll learn more about them during the commercial break.
The closet, right? We're coming up on golf season. A lot of us are going to be spending a lot of time out on the golf course, spending a lot of money on the golf course.
Yeah.
If you told your wife, hey, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make that closet. Make it magic.
You're a smart dude. You're a very smart dude. It is the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
Spring is coming up, and it's a time for cleaning and renewal. Get your spring cleaning started early with a fuel induction service from Willis Volvo Cars. This service cleans out carbon buildup and other deposits from the fuel injectors, intake valves, and combustion chambers. This service can provide fuel efficiency, performance, and power to make sure your Volvo is ready for spring and summer travel. Right now, we are offering 10% off a fuel induction service, so give us a call or head online to willisvolvocars.com.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. With more than 25 years of experience, Gary has been Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. With creativity and professionalism, Gary is dedicated to finding unique programs to help you afford the home you deserve. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank/Gary Presnall. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make. Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's $25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge. Hey guys, my name is Mason Miller. I'm the Infinity Sales Manager out here at Willis Infinity, and this month we are springing ahead with some great deals. Currently this month we are doing 1.9% out to 72 on all QX50 and 55 models. Also this month we are doing $3,000 conquest on eligible models for the QX80. Stop at our showroom or visit us online at willisinfinity.com.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive at therushradio.com. Don't forget you can listen to the show all day long. Just go to therushradio.com, click that Listen Live link. A couple minutes right after the show is over, you'll hear it in a continuous loop, or you can always find the show in its entirety at wherever you download your podcast. I'm Travis Justice. He is Ross Peterson. Been talking about the NCAA.
When you dance, do you do the classic white man overbite? I do like See, I do like I'm smelling a fart.
Is that because you're not interested? Because your expression.
No, I feel funky. It makes me feel more funky. This makes me feel dorky. This makes yeah. This makes me feel like Barry White. Barry White's the feeling. When I go like this, I feel like
yeah, baby, yeah. Truth is, I don't dance that much. I have to be really drunk to dance. I just, because I understand that I lack rhythm, and
doesn't stop me.
Yeah, well, no, because there comes a point there, if you think you don't have rhythm, you probably do. I mean, I've seen you sing karaoke, and I'm like, look at Ross go. He's got talent. If you saw me get on stage and do that, you're like, oh, somebody pull him off. Somebody don't let him do this to himself. He's just embarrassing himself. Just stop. And then you'll reach the point where you're like, no, this is too funny. Just let him keep going. He doesn't know that he's making an ass of himself. So that's
what
exactly what
karaoke
he's
is
doing.
supposed to be. It's not supposed to be your audition for The Voice.
Well, there's a lot of people that think it is.
I understand.
You know. Of course, we've been talking a lot about the NCAA basketball tournament. Iowa State is a number 3 seed, Drake a number 11 seed. There will be no postseason tournament for Iowa. A lot of people thought the Hawkeyes would make the NIT or that new Crown tournament. They have opted not to play in a postseason tournament. That's because on Friday, which was not really a surprise to anybody, if you were surprised that Fran McCaffery got fired, I'm sorry for you because you should have known it was coming. We've been talking about it for about a month. Ross, we didn't come on the air and do an afternoon show on Friday because I was here. You were on your way to Kansas City. But when you heard the news, were you like, oh, okay, well, it happened maybe faster than we thought. I thought they may wait a couple days.
It's so funny you say that, Trav. On Friday, I said, there's something about Thursday night where I was turning on Gary Dolphin's post-game show, kind of anticipating. And again, I said this on Friday. I didn't think they were going to fire him Thursday night, but I was kind of like, why aren't they? And I woke up Friday morning at 5 a.m. thinking, am I going to see a tweet that they fired him? And as we were doing the show, I kind of kept looking over thinking, any minute, right? Any minute. It has to happen. There's no way. No way you can continue writing this book and turn this story around. So it had to happen. It's just a matter of timing and if not, or when not if type of thing. I guess as far as when it happened, no. You know, it's kind of like that line in Fletch. It was very sudden. He was dying of cancer. Well, at the end, it was very sudden. He was on life support for weeks. No, at the very, very end, right when he died. He was alive and then he died. That happened sudden. So
the only thing,
that's the only thing with the timing of it was that, I guess. My reaction to it is best of luck to Fran and his family. And I think that we as Iowans and Iowa fans, we thank him for his time. Had a couple of his kids came to school here and provided us some really good memories. Connor's one of my favorites. I loved the way that dude played ball, and I was on the air saying it for a long time. If his last name had been McMurphy instead of McCaffery, he'd be one of the Hawkeye legends. We'd talk about that dude like we do Jess Settles.
I sent this to you when it came out, and this is probably where I drive you nuts. There are certain things that I do or that I think that just drive Ross nuts. I read the news release from the University of Iowa, and I thought it was one of the worst news releases ever about a coach getting fired. And just hear me out, because I'm going to read it because we got the time. This is the news release. University of Iowa making a leadership change in its men's basketball program. And I hate can we just call him head coach? Why do we have to have the Henry B. and Patricia B. Tippy, director of athletics?
You know why? Do you know why? Because they paid for it.
Yeah, they paid for it. Yeah. This was the statement from Beth Getz. Fran McCaffery.
You've already said a couple things that I'm trying to write down. Can you start over for me, and then I'll let you go. I won't stop you again.
The University of Iowa is making a leadership change with its men's basketball program. Henry B. and Patricia B. Tippy, director of athletics, Beth Getz, announced on Friday. Here's the quote. Fran McCaffery has been an integral part of our Hawkeye family for the past 15 years. He's a tremendous coach and teacher, and we are grateful for the positive impact he has made with the institution and community, said Getz. We have a deep appreciation for his dedication to the student-athletes and his passion for the game that will have a lasting impact on our program. My problem with that is there was no follow-up quote, Ross, like, now is the time to make a change. But knowing that, it was she never really said she made a change. She never really thanked him for his service. I know she said he was an integral part, but she didn't say, hey, thank you for your 15 years of service. And then she didn't say, now is here's why we're doing it. And the truth, because people are going to go, you know what? You have your all-time leader. He's only missed 2 straight NCAA tournaments. He had a winning record this year, was going to make the NIT or the Crown. Why
Nobody's
do you
saying that? Nobody's saying that.
That's my brain. And I'm reading this.
Nobody's saying that. Nobody's defending it. So, and I thought you were going to make fun of the making a leadership change.
Yeah.
Like we you know what? He's still part of the pack. We're just putting a new dog in front.
Yeah.
No, you're putting a bullet in the front dog's head.
Yeah, I mean,
I love it. John says, JB says, that's a better statement than I Hearts for Ross.
That's fair. There was
the explanation was
just move out of the way. He never existed.
Just don't say anything. He wasn't fired. He was laid off.
He was laid off. So was Fran McCaffery laid off?
That we're gonna make a leadership change. That's what I thought we were making fun of. That's a funny line. We're making a leadership change. That implies that, hey, things have been going great. We think if we just make a little change, little shift in direction, we're gonna make 1 degree off. No, we were going down a bad road like that. I don't think, Travis, they got to come out and say, hey, we got to fire this guy because of all this stuff.
Well, I think you have to.
I do feel like there's a thank you in there. You're right; those 2 words are not. You didn't say those 2 words, but that certainly is a show of appreciation. That isn't that where she's saying? Isn't that a show of appreciation where she's acknowledging the accomplishments that go deeper than the record? I mean, all of that stuff. I mean, I'm kind of writing down notes as you're right, and I'm thinking check. All those things are true, I guess, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's complete, but it's true.
And I get, I'm probably more of a direct person. To me, it was dancing a little bit, right? Maybe trying to be eloquent. And you know me, I just want somebody to just,
about that.
Boom.
No doubt about that. Well,
put it in my
when
face.
You start it with making a leadership change, and it no longer says Fran McCaffery has been relieved of his duties at the University of Iowa. That's what's happened, and that's the soft language. Temple Grandin. I think of this a lot, man. I think that because language matters so much. This is also my buddy Jan Michelson flying into my brain right now too, about how all these words matter, and all of this stuff. Chris Meharry says it. Words matter, and the Temple Grandin thing. She is a famous autistic lady who revolutionized the livestock industry, and part of her revolutionizing the livestock industry was understanding both sides. She understood the human side of these cattle and how to treat them more humanely, but then she also told these people, don't call them, they're slaughterhouses. It's not a processing center. It's a slaughterhouse.
That's what I need. I need somebody just to come out and go, boom, we fired him. Fans aren't coming to the I just need to be told directly. Because you and I have been talking about it.
It's not you alone. Everybody wants to hear that. We are the cattle. We are and you need to hear it. Treat us humanely, but be direct with us and say, okay, hey, you guys all saw the same thing we did, right? We're not making a leadership change. That's not what you do in 2025 when a Division I sports program that's a multi-million-dollar endeavor isn't succeeding. This is not the CEO is not stepping down. This is the type of corporate bullshit that people get sick of. Old Bill, he's going to retire, and then a week later, Bill's working for the competitor. Well, wait a minute. Did Bill retire or did Bill get ushered out the door and nobody wanted to tell us that he got ushered out the door? Because certainly seems like Bill got fired. He didn't get fired. He got laid off. Language matters. And
it does.
And then they see this bullshit and they go, well, what else is bullshit? If they're telling me If they're not telling me Fran McCaffery got fired, they're telling me that I'm experiencing a leadership change. I got to be honest, dude. I don't like that at all. The more I say it out loud, the more I think about it, I don't like that language at all because that's indicative of other things.
It is, and that's why
anybody's feelings around here.
And I think that was the lead, and then you get into the quote, and I'm like, okay, you really didn't. Most athletic directors will say, "Hey, we're firing the guy, and we did it because we thanked them for their service. They did the best they could, but here's why we're doing it." Right?
We have an expectation of success here, and that I think is a fair thing to say. There's no reason to pile on the grave. There's no reason to dance on top of it and say, "Oh, we fired the guy because he couldn't win the basketball games." There's no reason to do that. What you do say is, we've relieved him of his duties, and here is what our expectation is going to be. You don't have to. And by the way, this is another thing they used to do. You don't have to tell us. Which they didn't. You don't have to tell us, we're going to conduct a nationwide search and find the best possible candidate.
True.
I'd hope you're going to get the best possible candidate. We're gonna do a nationwide search, guys. Okay.
Of course.
What does that mean? You're going to put it on the internet? You're going to post it on Monster?
Indeed. Just go to Indeed.com for your application. Of course, that's not going to happen. We know that's not the way it works. And so this is – I know a lot of people are working for what the timeline will be. You have to follow the NCAA tournament. It is basically or even the NIT or the Crown. Because I'm going to make the assumption, Ross, that Beth Gett's next coach is either coaching in the NCAA tournament or coaching their team in the postseason in the NIT or the Crown. So whenever that coach is, whether that's Darren DeVries at West Virginia, Ben McCollum at Drake, there could be some other names on there as well. You won't have any movement or news until they are eliminated from competition, because you cannot have that be a distraction as it's going. Not saying there isn't talks going on with agents and stuff like that, but I would not expect. Now, I've been wrong. And I could be wrong again, but I would not expect a new coach to be named until they've been eliminated. That's just a courtesy, right? Darren DeVries didn't take the West Virginia job until Drake was out of the tournament last year.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I would hope, and I think that everybody that I have heard, everything I've read, almost every Hawkeye fan. There's a few other names, but for the most part, DeVries and McCollum are 1-2 or 2-1 in some fashion, or 1 of 3, right? Or sorry, 2 of those top 3. And there's a few other names that are thrown in there that make sense that I think would be good fits. But for the most part, Travis, you're exactly right. If those are your first 2 guys, then you're going to have to wait until they're both done, and I don't even know. I haven't even looked to see where is West Virginia going to the.
I think they're going to the Crown. I think that's the one everybody wants to go to because it's all in Vegas. Who
wouldn't
want to go to Vegas?
It's not the one everybody wants to go to.
Well, that's
Travis.
true. I mean, if you don't make the big one, people are like, well, where else? What's the consolation prize? I think I'll take Vegas. But Ross, would you agree with this? And I'm just going to throw it out. If it's not Darren DeVries or if it's not Ben McCollum, Iowa fans aren't going to be happy. I don't know if I'm going to be happy, right? I mean, it's got to be – it's like fair. You have 2 guys right there with Iowa connections that are pretty darn good coaches.
Yeah.
If it's not one of those 2, is it going to look like –
one of those 2, Travis, it's got to be a name. And I mean like a name. You're right. There's not many people that would be – that could supplant those 2 guys, and Hawkeye fans, not again, a lot of people are out there saying names that we have not mentioned. So there are Hawkeye fans that will be happy with blank, right? Some will. What you're talking about is the general mass.
Yes.
It's DeVries, McCollum 1 and 2, and I think that they would take either one of most fans would take either one of those on its surface and go, all right, excited about next year. Here we go, turning things around. I don't know. Other than those 2 names, anybody that I've heard people mention, it's going to take a while. It's going to take it. You're going to have to win some people over again.
Yeah, it won't be the excitement level. I mean, people will be happy. They'll jump on
the hope we've talked.
The hope. There's no guarantee of hope, but you're like, it's almost. And I got to be careful when I say this, because when Nebraska hired Scott Frost, the hope was, oh my God, you've got the right guy, former player, attached to the program, understand, and it did not work out. It was a failure. Matt Rule, a much better connection at Nebraska than Scott Frost ever had. But it just shows there are no guarantees. But people want hope. They want to cling to something they know, and I'm no different. I mean, do I want Darren DeVries, based on my relationship with Darren, to get the job? Absolutely. Somebody said it earlier in the chat. He's about 367 days too late. I wouldn't say that. And this came out, there were some conflicting reports, Ross. I forget who it was from ESPN, and Lastico from the Des Moines Register countered that, where, Iowa may not be able to afford Darren DeVries because they're in a financial situation.
Somebody said that per Chad Leistico, the Iowa, DeVries is afraid to come to, and Chad was like, I did not say this.
No. And I think what happens is, a lot of people are looking at possible debt, and they're like, where are you going to get the money? Your NIL doesn't have a lot of money. The truth is, these institutions can go find money, especially somebody like Iowa can go find money for a buyout. They can take on more debt if they want, because they know if you put butts in the seats, you are going to generate revenue. It's not like Beth Goetz doesn't have an opportunity to go to people and say, okay, here's what we're thinking. We want Darren DeVries. Ben McCollum is going to be a lot cheaper from a buyout standpoint than Darren is. But let's say Darren's your guy. I'm just using that because he's the high dollar one. Beth Goetz understands how to get money. She knows how to. And what's the old adage? If you want to make money, you got to spend a little bit of money. I mean, that's the case here. If you want Darren DeVries.
Listen, and the money, I don't. This is why I think the money is a silly conversation. Because it's not our money. I'm not, for the most part, we are not the ones that, like, right now, they're not going to be. Beth Goetz is not running a fundraising campaign so that she can afford the buyout for Fran McCaffery and afford a buyout for Darren DeVries. Or do they? Will we end up paying for it eventually? Yes. What I'm saying is, when we're talking about this stuff, like, oh my, what's the buyout for Coach DeVries? Well, don't worry about it, because it's a bajillion dollar athletic department budget. It's a contract that they're going to have to get out of. It's This is like when sports fans start to bitch and moan or worry about their team spending money on a player. I can't believe we're giving a relief pitcher. It's not your money. It's not your money. It will be. It will be. And if that's what you're worried about, is that, oh, man, they're going to have to jack up my ticket prices because of this. That's one thing. That's never what it is. We live vicariously through these general managers and these people, and we pretend like somehow we're involved. Oh, man, could we afford the $4 million? Can we pay West Virginia that much money? It ain't your money. You don't have $4 million. As far as I know, we don't have, me and you don't have $4 million. And so it's not our money. So I don't care what the buyout is. Contractually, are we 367 days too late to that listener's point? Yes. Yes, you are. You can't push back on that. That if Darren had stuck around one more year somehow at Drake and had one more great year there, how seamless of a transition this all would have been. Hell, he would have probably announced it already, and he still would have been able to coach Drake to the Sweet 16, right? Something like that. It would have been such a sweet handoff. But it didn't work that way. And that's not the way, wasn't God's plan as the way I look at it. So Darren's over there now, and now you got to convince him to come back, and it'll happen. I think DeVries is the first. You wait until whatever. And Travis, one person put this in, because you are because they did not make the NCAA tournament, can't you start those talks now? I mean, I know that you're still in postseason, but
well, I'm willing to bet. Let's say it's even Ben McCollum, right? I mean, because you've got two really good options. Something tells me talks have started either with intermarries or what word am I looking for? But your agent,
intermediary.
There you go.
In the meantime.
In the meantime, here's who you need to talk to. Because that's the nature of the deal. I mean, there was a scene after the NCAA tournament in Omaha last year where Darren was talking to TJ Otzelberger in the hallway after they had lost, and I could never verify this, but it was one of those. You know how when somebody's having a conversation, you look at it like it's really serious. It was almost like, hey, because Darren was up for the Oklahoma State job and he's up for the West Virginia job. So you're probably asking, hey, I have two options on the table, and this is my brain. I don't know if they were talking about it, but when you watch somebody talk, you're like, okay, they're having a private conversation. Are you asking him, do I take the Oklahoma State job or do I take the West Virginia job? And I think you know that it's going to roll fast. You probably know, hey, as soon as you are done, we're going to do an interview, and then we're going to run really, really quick. And I get Ben McCollum's having the same thing, because if it's not Iowa, it could be Indiana or it could be somebody else. Because when you win 30 games at a Missouri Valley Conference school in 1 year and you become the hottest name on the market,
the girl with the curl, man.
You are the girl with the curl.
Yep.
And speaking of Ben McCollum, he's going to be joining us right around 7:30, or scheduled to. It is St. Patrick's Day, and McCollum, I'm just going to assume is Irish, right?
Dude, I don't know. I don't care about that stuff.
You're one of the few. There's a lot of people who like to celebrate today. A lot of people like to drink today.
Yeah, I mean my ancestry in general. I'm a mutt.
Oh,
I'm a mutt. It's
you're
disrespectful.
American.
It's disrespectful to three of my great grandfathers to claim one of them. I'm German. I'm Swedish. The other three are like, what the? Where am I? I was part of that mix too. I'm Iowa. I'm from Iowa. I'm born and raised in Polk County, baby.
I know you feel that way.
Here. Look at all my Des Moines stuff.
See, I did the 23andMe. I was kind of infatuated with my Northern German heritage.
Northern German heritage.
The Rhineland area.
All of your family came from the same. What are you? Were you inbred until they crossed the ocean?
No, because I got some Netherlands.
Well, what
in
about
me
before? Where were they before Northern Germany? Why did you just pick? What'd you pick? The 1700s as your landing spot?
I didn't pick it. 23andMe picked it. Okay.
Okay. Somebody else told you that you're.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
I got it.
I just put my name into a government database so I could, if I commit a crime.
Somebody who said, "Tell him he's German."
So, Ross, when we come back, I want to continue the Iowa conversation, and I want you to think about this, because you got about 3 minutes to think about it. If it's not McCollum, if it's not DeVries, because you mentioned it's got to be a name. What would that name be? What's big enough name for you?
Dude. Oh, geez.
You got to throw the possibility out there, because there's always it's the case. I mean, you mentioned that it's got to be a name for people to care. It is the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
Spring is coming up, and it's a time for cleaning and renewal. Get your spring cleaning started early with a fuel induction service from Willis Volvo Cars. This service cleans out carbon buildup and other deposits from the fuel injectors, intake valves, and combustion chambers. This service can provide fuel efficiency, performance, and power to make sure your Volvo is ready for spring and summer travel. Right now, we are offering 10% off a fuel induction service, so give us a call or head online to willisvolvocars.com.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage and Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage and Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage and Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. With more than 25 years of experience, Gary has been Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. With creativity and professionalism, Gary is dedicated to finding unique programs to help you afford the home you deserve. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank/Gary Presnall. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge. Hey guys, my name is Mason Miller. I'm the Infinity Sales Manager out here at Willis Infinity, and this month we are springing ahead with some great deals. Currently this month we are doing 1.9% out to 72 on all QX50 and 55 models. Also this month we are doing $3,000 conquest on eligible models for the QX80. Stop at our showroom or visit us online at willisinfinity.com.
Second hour of the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive. Happy Monday. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Good to have you here with us. Up and at 'em. Of course, if you're listening on the stream at therushladio.com, thank you so much. If you are watching on YouTube, give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, set up those notifications so you know when we go live. You can also follow us on all the other social media channels, X, Facebook, and Instagram. I just put a Instagram post up, Ross. I was walking the streets of Florence this morning. I've seen zero reference to American college football, right, or football in general. It's all soccer here, right? Everywhere you go, there's soccer. Just in a little leather shop, there was an Oklahoma Sooner helmet signed by Bob Stoops from the 2000 national championship team. I'm like, so I'm taking a picture. All of a sudden, this guy with an Italian accent, Booba Sooner. I'm like, I go, no, but I go, it's the only thing I've seen. It was weird, right? Just a sign. And it's just out there. And it shows you it probably doesn't have much value to for an Oklahoma fan, it'd be like, oh, my God, it's signed Bob Stoops. It's just laying right when you walk in the store. And then they got a leather jacket, the Stars and Stripes American, where it's like, catering to Americans is what they're doing.
Of course. Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
But This is the first trip I've been on that I have not seen a Hawkeye or Cyclone hat or a Hawkeye or Cyclone. Usually I'll see a sweatshirt or something, and I'm able to go Hawks or go Clones, and I have not seen that yet.
I was in Kansas City this weekend, and I just went down Friday and Saturday. Dude, like you would, if you didn't know, if you were from Mexico, if you were from Italy, and you had no idea, your only frame of reference for college sports was an Oklahoma helmet in your town, right? You would swear Kansas City is where Iowa State is located. You'd be like, man, that must be, because you see a lot of Chiefs stuff. The Chiefs are everywhere. You see everywhere you go, people are wearing Patrick Mahomes stuff. And I get I understand this weekend that this is the weekend that a lot of Iowa State fans had dedicated and spent their vacation. I get that. I'm just saying, you walk around there, This weekend, the second most represented team I saw was Iowa State after the Chiefs.
Wow. They represent. That's why Kansas City never wants to lose that Big 12 tournament.
It goes back to that conversation. And I don't want to see that go away because I think that's really cool. And I know, 90% of Iowa State fans or more would say, don't move that thing. That's so perfect for us. 3 hours down there. I know the hotels. I know the town, which, by the way, the freeway system in Kansas City.
It's not good, is it? It's not good.
Unbelievable.
Were you staying down by the Power and Light District, or were you staying?
No. I stayed way up north in Liberty.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which I enjoy that because you can get in and out of town pretty quick. So.
But I'm with you. I've never liked the freeway system in Kansas City, and maybe
Nobody
just because
you can't. It's a disaster. It was designed by children.
We're going to have the beginning city planning class, and we're going to start our freshman work with Kansas City.
Dude, and I love Kansas City, but if you look at that from a city planning perspective, that city is an absolute disaster. It's like warehouse, cafeteria, home, construction site. You're like, what's happening here? Empty lot that's been empty for decades next to the river. You're like, what is happening here?
How would you rate Des Moines as a city planning?
What's that?
How would you rate Des Moines as a city planning?
Excellent, actually. Except for the thing that they got landlocked. They didn't have a big future, but I mean, as far as the city planning, I mean, dude, like the 28-mile-an-hour thing through downtown, right? If you hit a green light in downtown and you continue at about 28 miles an hour, you're not going to hit another red light. The Skywalk system, even though not utilized like it once was, is a really cool engineering marvel.
I would agree.
Right?
I would agree.
Yeah, Des Moines, and for the most part, I mean, they screwed up that south side of downtown, but it's coming around. It's getting there.
I thought about you over the weekend. I saw a post, and I don't know if it's true. So if I'm putting rumor and innuendo out there, did I see the Adventureland Inn is permanently closing?
I know that it was closed. I don't know that it permanently closed.
Yeah, I think I saw a post for like it's closed.
Okay.
I mean, that
doesn't surprise me, and something will go there. Speaking of really valuable land, Altoona has exploded, and they've done they'll get something there that'll be great. Jeff says, yeah, that's correct.
So I gave you 3 or 4 minutes to think about this, and I think you and I are both in. It's either DeVries or McCollum or bust for Beth Getz in Iowa. But let's say Darren says, I'm happy here. Let's say McCollum gets the Indiana job, because the truth is Indiana's a better job than Iowa. I mean,
then nobody's pushing back.
Yeah.
If you did, you're blind. You're seeing the world through your Hawkeye glasses.
Now, I think the pressure at Indiana is a lot more than it would be at Iowa.
No doubt.
Are there any other names because you mentioned if it's not one of those two, it's got to be somebody that somebody knows, right? Is there anybody that falls on that list for you?
No, there's nobody. So that's not the question I thought you were going to ask me. I thought you were going to ask me to come up with a name besides DeVries or McCollum, which I think and I can tell you what I've heard or what I've seen. But the question you asked me instead was, if one of those two guys can't make it, you're going to get somebody that makes a splash. Who could the Hawkeyes hire that it's going to be one of the leads on SportsCenter?
Good way to look at it.
And that's and I know that that's not a literal thing, but I'm just saying, like, what's something that's going to make people, my cousins from outside of the state, what's going to make them call me and go, dude, you guys landed? Who's that going to be? Ben McCollum does not do that. But again, we've all decided DeVries and McCollum are in their own little category.
Yes.
Either one of those guys does what you're trying to do, which is suffice the fan base and get them kind of excited and going. Dude, I thought somebody was messing with us in the chat, and then I did something. I decided I was going to turn to AI. Okay? It's
Okay.
exactly. I'm not joking, we can talk about this too later. But I decided I'm just going to turn to AI. I'm going to figure out what does AI think that the best coaching candidates are for this job. And by the way, DeVries and McCollum 1 and 2 in every single list. We either 1 or 2
through AI, or did you do?
Well, through all the things. I mean, if you do through Google searches, anything like that, it's going to find that. This is what ChatGPT told me.
Okay,
I said, give me the best 5 candidates for the Iowa men's basketball job, and it told me all about. It actually gave me a better press release about Fran McCaffery than what we got from Iowa. I'm not kidding. It says, as of March 17th, 2025, following the departure of Fran McCaffery after 15 seasons as head coach, the University of Iowa is actively seeking his replacement for the men's basketball program. Several candidates have emerged. Number 1, Darren DeVries, good rundown of Darren. Number 2, Ben McCollum, good rundown of Coach McCollum. Number 3, Chris Jans. As head coach of Mississippi State, Jans demonstrated his coaching prowess by leading the Bulldogs to competitive performances in the SEC. His experience and track record make him a viable candidate for the Hawkeyes. Number 4, Porter Mosier, currently at Oklahoma.
Ooh, I never thought of Porter.
Mosier gained national attention at Loyola Chicago with a Final Four run in 2018. His ability to elevate the program has been attractive in Iowa's search committee. That was the first one I was like, haven't heard Porter Mosier.
I haven't.
Number 5.
That's the first time I've heard Porter Mosier's name too.
Number 5, Nico Medved. Leading Colorado State, Medved has built a reputation revitalizing programs and achieving consistent success, which could align with Iowa's aspirations. Okay, so those were the 5 that ChatGPT told me to come up with.
Does any one of those give you a splash?
None of those. The only one in there that has a national, not even a national name. None of those guys have a national name, and I'm talking about Jans, Moser, or Medved. But Porter Mosier's the guy that would. I mean, again, of those 3 names, of those 3 coaches, I would go Jans, Medved, Mosier in my head. Of national prominence, of making a headline, and none of those guys do it. The closest one that gets to that is probably Porter Mosier, and I don't think I want that. So, just Google searches also bring up Chris Jans, Jared Calhoun out of Utah State, Nico Medved out of Colorado State, Steve Forbes from Wake Forest, which I've seen a lot of people push for Steve Forbes, but none of these guys are moving that needle, and so this is why I almost, Travis, the thing I don't like about these conversations is that I don't want to get my hopes up about any one of these guys. Pick my pony, and then all right, I'm a Nico Medved guy. Let's go. I hope they hire Nico. Well, then they hire Jared Calhoun,
which you had to tell me where he coached, right?
This is. I think and I don't like these conversations either because it's all about nothing. It's all about nothing. We have no say in it. Hopefully it's going to be McCollum or DeVries, and then we can move on. There's so many other things that I just don't like. This to me is like, all right, let's break down the schedule and win-loss the schedule.
To annoy you, not on purpose, but
to
keep the conversation going. I got stuck one night. I couldn't sleep, so I went down a rabbit hole of Indiana chat rooms, And I mean, Indiana, they love their basketball. There's no doubt about that. I'm kind of one of these weirdos, Ross. Maybe I believe in second, third, fourth chances, but if you don't get McCollum or DeVries, I'm like, I'll take a guy with some baggage. I'll take a guy with some baggage.
You would.
I would.
Everybody knows that. Everybody's like, nah.
Yeah,
Jax.
I will take a guy with some baggage. I mean,
so give me a name.
Bruce Pearl has a lot of baggage. I think an underrated coach, and what he's done in 2 years at Ole Miss, Chris Beard has some baggage, right? And you sit there and go, all right, maybe deep down I want a guy who's going to bend the rules without breaking them. Maybe just kind of find a way to get it done. I mean, if I can't get who I want, do I go, well, screw it, I'm going all in then. Let's just go all in. I'm one of those guys that goes, yeah, okay, I'll take a chance.
Can I? I'm not. Does age matter at all in this hire?
Not to me. Doesn't to me. Listen, Rick Pitino's in his 70s. Okay, Rick Pitino,
he's a unicorn, dude. Is Bruce Pearl Rick Pitino? He's kind
of, yes. Yes.
When I asked the question, he's closer than I thought.
Where hasn't he won? He's won everywhere. Has he done it on the right way? No, he got a show cause one time. But what's
the right way?
Yeah, what's the right way? And I'm not suggesting Pitino for this. Ross asked me if age matter. I go,
Pitino-esque.
But Pitino took a job when he's in his 70s. St. John's won the Big East and is a number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Did you see that speech about his team? What are you going to fight for? Oh, I saw that. I was like, that's a good one. Again, discipline over motivation. But when you see that stuff, it goes, that would light a fire. And it seemed to. But anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're going to grab a name, you give me somebody who's got a little baggage. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Bruce Pearl. Okay. All right.
Now, is Iowa a better job than Auburn? Right now, the SEC is the best league in the country, and he's one of the top teams in the country. I don't know. I think it is. It would just be a full circle moment. Bruce Pearl goes to Iowa. You're like, oh, full circle.
That's the other thing. I mean, you said the name. I just got to kind of laugh about him coming back to Iowa. He's not leaving Auburn.
No. It would be very tough.
What a weird phone call that would be.
Bob Huggins is out there, though.
Does that? I mean, do those names do it for you? Is that a name that makes you go, man? People are going to be calling me and asking me for tickets next year.
I think Huggins might, just because it's Bob Huggins. Bruce Pearl would bring people in. I mean, that would excite people.
There aren't any names out there like that.
Yeah.
Oh. All right.
Yeah. So that I was just wondering if you would.
There's your conversation. There's your prediction on the next Iowa Hawkeyes basketball coach. That will. We can do this for the next 2 weeks.
You could. Oh, you really could. If you were a betting man, does Iowa have a coach by Saturday?
No.
I'm not saying who it is.
By Saturday. Today is Monday, right?
Yeah.
Still Monday? No.
Okay. I'm with you on that. I think it happens depending on when teams get beat, but I think it happens like Monday or Tuesday of next week. That'd be my guess. Because the fallout was the thing now is you've got to go get players because Owen Freeman has already said he's in the transfer portal, right? I mean, and there may be more that follow. Owen Freeman, I think his timing was right because he goes, in lieu of the coaching change, I'm going to enter. I think he was going to go in the transfer portal. I think you and I both heard that he was going to enter the transfer portal, but there you've got an excuse and go, okay, we're going to go get a transfer. I can go in right now.
Yeah. I have no problem with these kids.
No.
Putting their foot in the water, going out and testing out what's out there. You are a teenager, or you're still in my mind. And everybody, you're a young man. You're still a kid in my mind. You've changed your mind. Go out there and see what's available for you. And this opportunity is going to go really fast. And you've worked your butt off to get this opportunity. Go see what's available for you, and find the best thing that feels right and is right for you. I'm with you. I had heard for a while that Freeman was gone, but Travis, we hear so much stuff. Like the Gilbert thing. Even earlier, we were talking about Gilbert sitting out, and there's these rumors like, oh, he's not really hurt. He's sitting. No, if that were the case, then TJ would say, listen, this is because we've seen it. I'm not guessing. We've seen it where they would say, you're a cancer. We don't want you around the team anymore. We're trying to accomplish big goals. We need you to not be around anymore. And then the reporters would see that rather than, hey, he's still hanging around. He's still tweeting about the team, and he's still doing. We've seen how this plays out. We look too far into these things. So,
you used AI to give you the 5 best coaches. You used AI a lot this weekend, right? Didn't you?
Dude, I used AI a lot this week.
ChatGPT is running your life now.
Not necessarily, and not just ChatGPT. There's a lot of different AI things that are really, really cool.
Have you used Grok on Twitter yet?
Yes,
That's
I have.
really good. That's a really
one.
good one.
Yeah, it is. I've used Grok. In fact, used Grok a couple times this weekend. So, but then today I was using, I just used ChatGPT for this one this morning because I happen to have that app on my phone from last night, using it to do grocery lists and meal prep. So this weekend, when we went to Kansas City, took Audrey and one of her besties down there just to have a fun weekend. Audrey wanted to see an aquarium, and I think I told you the thing about her spinning the globe with her finger on it, and it landed on Missouri. So she thought this was like a great trip. So we went down Friday night, stayed in a hotel that had a swimming pool and a water slide and all that, and then girls wanted to have fettuccine Alfredo. So go to AI and say, best fettuccine Alfredo in Kansas City. And it gives me this place. Garazzo's, I think was the name of it, something like that. It doesn't matter. It was fantastic. It was like awesome. I had a chicken spadini that was better than what I'd had at Latin King. That's the best chicken spadini I'd ever had. And I know Eastsiders are losing their mind right now. But it was better. It was fantastic. So then Saturdays, we woke up, we did the aquarium, we did Legoland, we did the Science Museum. They had like a Taylor Swift dance party thing Saturday afternoon. Saturday night, we get back to the hotel. Best pizza in Kansas City. Takes us to this number 1, 2, and 4. We're all the same place called Minxie's or something. Awesome. Walked in there. I think, and I usually did 4 kids. You know what I mean? Lunch we had at this place where a train delivered the food to you. It's called like Fritz's or. It was awesome. It was awesome. And honestly, yeah, type it in or, hit my little voice thing. Best pizza in Kansas City for kids. Go.
See, now I'm going to use ChatGPT or Grok to ask. I'm going to ask it who's going to win the World Series this year and just see if it's right.
Here's what you could do. Here's what you could do. You could go right now and say, give me a detailed breakdown of all of the first round matchups in the NCAA tournament. I did last night for my Garazzo's and Minsky's. Charlie says, thank you guys. Yeah, Minsky's was the name of it. Last night or yesterday, I got home. I'm getting ready to do my grocery shopping, and I thought, you know what? This has worked well so far. So I said, give me, I look at Eli as an adult. I said, give me a grocery list for 2 adults and a kid and meal prep for a week. And in 6 seconds, it spit out, go buy these things. Tonight, make lemon garlic chicken with sweet potatoes. And I went there, did my shopping, came home, made my first meal last night, and then I went back and said, give me a detailed recipe for day 1. Gave me the detailed recipe.
You're going to be a master chef by the end. You're going to raise the expectations for your kids.
I'm worried about mastering the AI stuff. I just want to be proficient in that, so when the overlords show up at the door, I know which one to bow to.
The overlords show up. Oh, it may happen. It just may happen. We were talking about money earlier. I don't know if you saw this. Iowa's in a good situation because it's in the Big Ten. Iowa State's in a good situation because it's in the Big 12. Did you see UNLV, how it hired Dan Mullen at like $3 million a year, $3.2 million a year? They publicly announced, because they had to, they were at a Regents board meeting, they only have enough money to pay him for 2 years. They've said, we only have enough money to pay him for 2 of his 5 years of his contract. If you're head coach, are you like, what did I get myself into?
Is that one of those things, Trav, where it's like if we shut the funding stream off right now, we only have enough for 2 years? Or are they saying even with our projections?
I think they're saying even with their projections that they only have enough to pay him for 2 years. And so they're probably like, I mean, to have to admit, but this goes back to what you were saying for many, many years. There will be schools who will be able to afford this. And this is why you're going to need almost UNLV should not be paying a guy $3 million a year.
No.
Shouldn't.
Especially if you're in that situation. I mean, yeah,
but you had Odom who went 10-3. Winning is a drug. Winning is a drug.
You're right about that, man.
And you're like, we got to keep winning. We got to hire a big name. We've got to bring somebody in here, people who are going to get behind, and just throw the bank at them. Well, there's not much in the bank. Well, we'll it's almost like we'll figure it out because they're UNLV.
But that's my argument. Hold on, Judge. Hold on. That's my argument. Where's the money? Because they're UNLV. This is so. All right. Again, just thinking about it out loud for a minute. This has been the problem with the NCAA from the get-go. Is don't save the money, spend the money. You're a nonprofit. So as soon as you got to cash flow this thing. If the football team's going to make $1 bajillion, then we got to spend that $1 bajillion in other places to make sure that we're showing zero money. So the athletic director's got to have a huge salary. All the coaches got to make millions of dollars to coach sports. Not $1 million. $1 million. You want to compete? We got to have $3 million. We got to give a coach $3 million. We can't afford it. It doesn't matter. This is Doge on. This is a microcosm of Doge, right? It's a microcosm of our government. We're just going to spend money and spend money and spend money and spend money.
I tell you what, Ben McCollum just popped into the thing.
Yeah,
we'll take a break. We got to take a break, and it's a 2-minute break, and then we'll come back with Ben McCollum on the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
Spring is in the air and the perfect time to take care of your vehicle. Your car has worked hard all winter. Now it's time to give it the care it deserves. Did you know spark plugs should be replaced every 60,000 miles on some newer turbocharged vehicles? Also, carbon deposits on the valves can disrupt the airflow of the engine. These simple services can keep your engine running smoothly, ensure you start every adventure with confidence. Visit Willis Chevrolet today and make sure your car is ready for the road ahead.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
If you have a pest problem with over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
Believe it or not, spring is coming. When it does, be absolutely organized with custom garage or closet systems from Absolute Garage and Closets. Turn a winter mess into a spring success at our showroom in Urbandale or visit absolutegarage.net.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels. There's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
It is TheRushRadio.com, and you can listen all day long. Just go to TheRushRadio.com, powered by Willis Automotive. Click that Listen Live button, and you'll be able to join the show at any time if you missed any part of today's show, or you can always download it on your favorite podcast channel. Joining us now on the Rush Radio show, the one, the only head coach of the Drake Bulldogs, Ben McCollum. How many interviews have you done since the selection show? Like 50?
Way too many. No, it's good. We've done. I told my SID. I said, "Man, I mean, golly." So no, it's good. I think we've done 10, 12, 15, somewhere in that range. So it is what it is. It's just knock them out, and it's a good thing. You want to promote Drake. You want to promote the success of our kids, and so you just do as many as you can.
Yeah, I won't ask you what the dumbest question you've been asked yet. It'll probably come from me because
probably come from us.
Yeah, probably come from us.
Those are the better questions anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, McCollum, is it Irish, and do you celebrate St. Patrick's Day?
It is Scottish.
Oh,
Yep. It's like if you're not Scottish, you're crap. The old Saturday Night Live. Is that what it comes from?
I think so. Yeah,
I think it's Michael Myers or something like that. There you go. So that's a great question. Yeah. No, we have the former media relations guy at UNI is named Colin McDonough, and he was at Northwest Missouri State with me, and that was our thing, is that we're both Scottish. So it's fun stuff.
Okay, so I have this argument with my best friend all the time. If William Wallace and Maximus got in a fight, who would win?
William Wallace, just toughness wise.
Yep. See, you and I fall in the same boat, and he's Scottish, by the way. So
yeah, no, he is for sure. That takes the cake. You did it.
There we go. I did it.
Right,
I did it.
On the dumbest question, I like it. That's good.
All right, there we go.
Those are my style, anyway.
We were watching the you've known you're going to be in the NCAA tournament for a week, but you have the big crowd, and when you see your name get called, just to watch your players, to watch that crowd, and really a first time for you because this is the tournament. What was that feeling? Even just you knew you were in, but what's that feeling to see your name get called?
It's pretty neat. I think that for me, I instantly start to figure out how you're going to try to win the game, and that's what we've. That's just in the nature of who I am. So you probably get a 10-second deal, and then you're focused. It is really intense, though. It's kind of funny as the names pop up. It's a little different than Division II, and because you want a good matchup, meaning, the one thing that we didn't want, and I'm not saying this matchup's good because it certainly isn't. I don't think there's any good matchups in the NCAA tournament, but, the one thing you didn't want is somebody that plays exactly like you. You want contrasting styles in these tournament settings just to see what wins. And so, I think St. Mary's was maybe a 7 seed. And so you're a little worried about playing them, but you don't get to choose, and everybody's good this time of year. And, Mizzou is really good, really well coached, really physical, really athletic. So it's going to be tough.
Can I ask about that, Coach? You say you don't want to play somebody who plays like you. You don't want to see a team. Why is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I just always like the contrasting styles. I think it's more fun for fans. I think it's more fun for our guys too. It's just, we play a different style. Everybody says it's slow, and I guess technically it is. We're just trying to get a good shot, though. We're trying to get more efficient than anything else. And so, now we're playing a team that plays elitely fast and is efficient and athletic. And so, it's. They got a lot of things that are difficult for us, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun challenge for us.
All right. So, what was that first thing when you see Missouri pop up and you say you got that 10 seconds of like, okay, there's Drake, we're in, this is cool. What's your first reaction on Missouri?
I don't know anything about them. Well, now I do, okay. But I didn't at that point. So
okay,
I've casually watched them. Yeah, they're an SEC team, so they're going to play fast. They're going to be athletic. They're going to be tough. I know Coach Gates pretty well. He's a great person. Does a really good job with his team, and they're very bought in. So it's going to be a tough game.
Were you surprised? I mean, was that hard to wait a week? The Big 12 goes up until Saturday, the Big 10 and SEC, ACC this week. Is it hard to wait that week not knowing anything? You're just like, okay, I guess we're going to go practice, but we have no idea who we're going to play. How hard is that week leading up to finding out who you got to play?
Yeah, it wasn't ridiculously hard. It's a good break. I don't know if it will impact us on Thursday or not. Meaning I don't know. Just the layoff. Do you get out of rhythm? Do you get out of flow? I don't know. People have asked that before, and I just, I've never had a week and a half off. So and I'll be curious to see what happens. I mean, we just got to go in and be us and compete and fight and see what happens.
Week and a half off is the wife and kids like, okay, Dad, you got to go back to work. Okay, we need you out of here.
Yeah, it was a good break for just my wife and kids and just being around a little bit more. I think sometimes when I know I have a game coming, I get bored and I get kind of unfocused. And so maybe that was it, but it's hard. This is hard on families. Coaching profession is, and obviously at these levels and particularly Power 4, you make a lot of money. So it comes with it, but it does impact your family a lot more than you think. And even just, reading everything about your dad and that sort of thing is tough. It's been that way for years, but our family seems to handle it. My wife does a great job, and she kind of runs the show here anyway, which is good for us.
What's the travel plans here, Coach? You guys taking off tomorrow down to Wichita?
Yeah, we'll fly out tomorrow, and then we'll be there for the duration.
At least you don't have to bus. I remember a time that it's Wichita. We could just bus you down. It's closer.
Yeah, I mean it's it just makes you feel a little more big time. I think it's a 5-hour trip, and I'm used to those kind of trips at Division II anyway, so it wouldn't really matter to me. I think it's just what you do at this level, and yeah, charter's fun. I will say this: that's of all the differences between Division I and Division II. Charter flights is an absolute game changer. Like it's different now. It's you like getting the first one was to Valpo, and we finally got up to where we were supposed to be in the air, and then all of a sudden we're coming back down, and you're like, we're here? Like this is supposed to be an 8-hour drive, and we're there in 45 minutes, and then the bus sits right there on the runway, and you're just like, okay, this is a little bit different. I enjoy this right here. So that's the biggest difference in regards to the travel and stuff like that.
Coach, we have to ask the question because you mentioned your kids reading about you. You're one of the most popular names on any sports website right now when it comes to coaching searches. And this is going to be a weird time because you're preparing and your name's thrown out there. Do you just get like you have your cell phone, you get a burner phone and say, hey, somebody else answer this, and that's who has the number? I mean, because Lord knows it's ringing off the hook.
Yeah, for probably 6 or 7 years, it's been very similar with different types of deals that come up, and and they came and went a lot of times, whether it's me or them or whatever it may be. I think it's the nature of this profession. I think, first off, half the stuff that you read on Twitter isn't true anyway. That every once in a while they'll pop something on something true, but I don't pay attention to it. I specifically don't get on, especially now because it's Lent too. And, one of my buddies is always, you get 15 minutes of social media time during Lent. And so, you just try to avoid that stuff unless some of my buddies, but my buddies will send me stuff and it's like, dude, like I don't need to read this right now. So, we stay pretty present. I think that the team came here and all my guys understand that I'm loyal to them, and you always have to do that. And that's why I think guys are loyal to me as well. So, I stay pretty focused.
I love that like all of us, Coach, you've got that text group of buddies who just probably don't let you take yourself too seriously. I was going to joke with you. I hope you got an attorney because I've seen on Twitter that you've already signed. You're already the head coach at like 4 different universities, Coach. So
yeah, no, I've got my other shirts underneath here, so we're good. It is fascinating, and it's what creates some excitement though for whatever it is, and I don't know. It's just like we were D2 Drake for a while. My buddies would send me that too. It was just like, okay, well, we'll see what D2 is about. And so, no, it's,
it's interesting you say that because I saw that a lot, and I'm like, I don't know whether I know the purpose behind it, but did the D2 Drake bother you in any way? Because it kind of, as a person, I've followed Drake since I was a teenager living in Omaha, and I'd watch the Creighton and Drake matchups. Did the D2 moniker bother you at all when it's a D2 Drake?
bother me? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't. None of that stuff really bothers me. The only thing that ever bothers me, and it doesn't bother me, it's just I don't like people talking about my players. I don't like that. Only if it impacts them. Like, man, okay, we don't need to do that. I don't know. I'm pretty protective of my staff. I'm pretty protective of my players. Protective of my family. For me, it's like the D2 Drake thing. I don't know. I don't really care.
Right.
I don't, like good. And so then you use it as motivation. Maybe you save receipts, like the kid said. And I save some receipts. I'm not afraid to save them, and make sure that people understand that. Good. Yeah, no, it is what it is.
He was talking about one of your players last week. We had Jeff Goodman on, one of the probably most famous college basketball writers. He was talking about Bennett Sturts, and he said if there's one player in the whole country that he would pursue in the transfer portal, it would be him. It was a compliment.
He said his favorite player in the country.
Yes.
Yeah. He said his favorite player in the country.
Yeah. No. And he was second team all league at D2. So all of a sudden he got better. No, Bennett's a good player. I think the only reason is we had the MVP of the league on our team last year. So we had a kid that was 6'7" shooter, kind of a hybrid, could play multiple positions. And so he was MVP of the league last year at Northwest. And then, they just didn't put two on. So he ended up second team. But yeah, Bennett's good. Bennett's, I think his greatest strength is his humility. And, anytime you have that kind of humble heart, you can improve constantly. He also knows who he is, and it doesn't change. And that's really tough in today's climate, is because you can believe a lot of the poison and the noise that is associated with it. And you can get distracted and you forget exactly, what you're convicted to do. And he loves basketball. He loves to play basketball. And he stays completely and totally focused on just that. And it's a blessing for him that his family allows him to do that and doesn't allow him to get caught in all the noise that's associated with it. So he's definitely right, but that would require him to get in the transfer portal, Jeff. So
that's touche, as they say.
No, Jeff's awesome. He's a good one. So I'm just messing with him.
He is. Yeah. He's a good guy.
Coach, I think you've got a good perspective on that. That it's his job, and that he's not talking about him in a bad way. I love what you said about the family, and just your tone of. I think we can all appreciate what you're kind of putting down there. That this is a weird time. You got kids, you got a wife, you got a family. You, like all of us, man. You're thinking about schools and them and a lot of stuff. So best of luck to you through this. And most importantly right now, best luck against Missouri.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you having me on. And I appreciate the good questions. The tough questions, the Scottish questions. That's fantastic.
I could have just come out and said, "Are you taking the Iowa job? Are you taking the Iowa job?" That's
you can ask that all you want. There's nothing there. So
how about this, Coach? Will you do the hat thing when you do finally, if you decide?
Yeah. Now you guys are a complete mess. Yeah. No,
okay. I do have one more serious question for you.
Yeah.
It is serious. You had so much success at the D2 level, which is awesome. Do you think that prepares you, because you've been in that big environment in the D2, that it makes you prepare a team better for the NCAA tournament?
I do. I think seeing multiple styles of basketball prepares us. So, we've seen pressure, we've seen zones, we've seen presses, we've seen packed in defenses, we've seen junk defenses. we've seen it all, and we've done it all with different lineups. And so that certainly prepares us. Playing in the NCAA tournament, playing on national TV certainly helps us at Division II because we played on national TV a few times there as well. So, yeah, I think I know Brian and I was one of the best athletic directors in the country in my mind. When he hired Coach DeVries, he hired him, and I actually interviewed for the job at that point, and ended up going with DeVries, which is fine and all that. I think those extra years at Northwest actually helped me even more because we won 3 more national titles after that, and I've adapted to more personnel. I've been in more game experience, and so sometimes it's good to get yourself. I thought I was ready then, and then you take the job, and then you're so ready, and that's kind of the the gift that I was given in regards to that.
Excellent stuff, Coach. Congratulations. Travel safe, and go get Missouri.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you, Coach, so much. Go get him.
Ben McCollum joining us on the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com. I was just thinking too, Ross. We talk about Bennett Sturts and these guys that came from Northwest. One of his players that entered the transfer portal out of Northwest was Baylor Shireman. Now, a lot of people may not remember that name, but he's the one that went to Creighton and helped Greg McDermott take that. I mean, he transferred because a lot of Creighton fans were like, a Division II guy, and then boom.
And then they show up, and you're like,
boom.
A Division II
I believe he was a first-team All-Big East. I mean, that's – it takes – to find those guys, right, and to be able to
eye for talent
that
people aren't seeing. Travis, that might be my new.
Just elevated to the top. That's your number one. That's your 1A now. I'm kind of with you. I liked what he said too about he interviewed for the Drake job when Darren got it. Thought he was ready, but then he knew he was really ready.
Travis, you and I've been there. You and I have been in that situation. I'm ready for this opportunity. It doesn't come. It comes later. And you go, oh, I'm way more ready for this opportunity now. Travis, I think that's my new number one. I was DeVries McCollum. And again, 1A, 1B. I was interchangeable. Either one of those. And again, if we had Darren on tomorrow, I'd probably go, oh, that's right, because great coaches have that thing about them that we just saw. Did you just feel like your buddy was the guy that we were talking to? Didn't you just feel like...
And when he dropped it, I'm glad you brought up the text group because everybody's got their text group, right? You're right, and you're just like, yes. And see,
you're like, oh, he's just like us.
Now, I will say this.
The family thing. The family thing to me, Travis, that's what hits my heart. Did you see the tone change, his face change? Man, you guys, I know everybody out there is talking about basketball, and I am just some commodity in your entertainment chess game. I get it. This is my family. Where am I going to raise my kids? What about their friend group? What about their grandparents? I'm gonna make millions of dollars. That's super duper cool. And I'm gonna do it coaching basketball, and that's amazing and awesome. I'm gonna be well compensated for all this. But man, while you guys are thinking about which NIL is the best, I'm trying to think about which school is the best, what home prices are, how I'm gonna convince some of the guys I want to come with, for some reason, I've even knowing it, Travis, I forget it. I look at these guys as commodities in my entertainment chessboard. Right.
And by the way, some are commodities. Some are commodities. Some want to move that. And I think Ben has done a really good job, especially maybe it's because we've been more active in reaching out to him. But even when we were on the old place. I think it took him a while to connect. I mean, it was like, okay, what is it, the style of play, and you're trying to build a team, trying to get acclimated, and now you're like, okay, I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at. I'm going to show people what my personality. And we've had him on twice now, and his personality is going to be a hit. If he stays in the state, whether it's at Drake or at Iowa.
The only thing that worries me about it is how, like, when he says, man, I am protective of my kids. I'm real protective of my kids.
Yeah.
Well, then that's going to eliminate a lot of jobs. It should. I mean, and I think he's smart.
Indiana's out. Indiana's out.
We knew this from the last interview we had with him. He's going to be selective. He's not just going to. He's had opportunities, and he wants to wait and jump at the right one, or take the right one, not jump at the right one. I'm a big fan of that dude, man. That was, and by the way, he mentioned another one that kind of my brain started going on. Brian Harden. Look at Brian Harden has killed it. He's done a great job. His job is to hire coaches that continue to build the programs
and make him look good.
That connect. That's a good. I love that you go to the ego thing of like make him look good. They do.
No,
he's every basketball coach he's hired has been a home run hire. He just hired Joe Woodley, a multiple national champion who hasn't lost a regular. Like Brian's killing it.
It's called leadership, and what I mean by that is great leaders hire great people, give them the tools to succeed, and sit back and go, make me look good. I'm not going to micromanage you. You run your organization.
Dude.
And if you need, and I'll give you the support you need, but go do what you do. And I know a lot of ADs who want to be the face of the program. An AD really shouldn't be the face of the program. Should be the money manager, should be hiring the right people. The face of the program is your coach, right?
And if you're, again, Jamie Pollard is a little bit different because of his longevity.
Yes.
And people can say, if you wanted to knock on Jamie, say, "Oh, Jamie likes to be the face of the program." That's not the case. I don't see that anyway. That's big fan of that guy. That was a good one.
Yeah. So we thank him for coming on. He's been on twice now, and his personality has come out a lot. And it's refreshing. Not a lot of coach speak in there too.
The connection thing, dude. He's only been here a year.
Yeah.
So I would say he really, he wasn't on a lot, but man, he had a big job to do. And you can tell even through this, focused on the job at hand, and that is to try to win basketball games. And what a rough time. He looked like he was tired, just like, man, 15 interviews since last night.
Well, and so you've done 15 interviews, which it's important, right? Because take away local media. Every time you go onto a national media, you're wearing Drake or you're talking about Drake. That's great for the university. It really is. And we talked about if you get a win in the NCAA tournament, I'm just throwing this out there. Do you know that will help enrollment? There are studies that show smaller schools that have success in the NCAA tournament have a bump in enrollment because you have a lot of people going, "Where's Drake? What is Drake?" And when Northern Iowa beat Kansas several years ago, I think their enrollment went up like 20%. Because it was just, has that, yes, it was like, it's like a 1-year thing, but you just have that much of a bump because you're like, Ross, believe it or not, people want to go to school where they have good athletic teams.
I get that, and I've seen that again, I say this a lot. Grandview didn't build their athletic department because of multi-million-dollar television contracts. They built it because with a winning athletic program, you draw more kids.
Yes. And they want to play there.
They want to play there, and kids will enrollment will go up in general. So,
well, I use my daughter as an example. When Abigail arrived at Ole Miss, they had a housing problem. They had dorms that were shuttered, and then Lane Kiffin comes in. Now they don't have enough housing. They're like have to build all these dorms because the enrollment is through the roof. But so I mean, so not only that, but like you said, he didn't know anything about Missouri when they call. So you got to do 15 interviews, and then you got to get on Huddle and download all the video, and then you got to start scouting.
This is why your staff is important, and a lot happening inside that house.
People are asking you, Tico or Tasty? Tico or Tasty?
This isn't. Come on, that's absurd. It's not a real question, Travis. People are trolling you. That's not a real
Oh, they're trolling me? Are they trolling me or are they trolling you?
Listen, this is what this is. It's for people that aren't in the know about this. Chad, is it Chad? Sorry, Tico or Tasty. So Tasty Tacos is obviously a Des Moines tradition, a Des Moines staple, and possibly the greatest taco on the planet. I can't say for sure because I haven't had every taco on the planet. What I have had are some awful imitations, all right? And for years when I would meet people that were from the northern part of the state, and I would say, oh, have you been to Tasty Tacos? It's amazing, right? And they would go, oh, yeah, it's really good. Ever been to Taco Tico? No. What's Taco Tico? Oh, it's Taco Tico is like a better version of Tasty Tacos. Dude. So my buddy takes me up to Fort Dodge, tells me, you've got to go taste this. It's blasphemy to compare these two places to each other. This is like, have you ever been to Madrid? Yeah. You mean Madrid? This is people that think that, Paris, Iowa is the same as Paris, France. Remember when you were in high school and they'd have taco day at the school?
Soggy taco day, yeah.
You get this soggy taco that broke in half, and it was full of like meat that was swimming in something that resembled grease.
Yeah.
That's what that, and then you go to Tasty Tacos and you get a steak taco. It's got shredded steak in it. It's fluffy. It's got fresh shredded cheese on it. Like, oh my gosh, this is delicious. People compare that to this? It's not a comparison, and I don't do the, I don't fall for these thought-ending cliches very often. I don't do the thing of like when you earlier, you're like, I think the South is the toughest region, and it's not even close. It's close. When people say Eminem's the greatest rapper of all time, and it's not even close. Well, there's a discussion to be had, right? There's a discussion to be had. This is not even close. That place up north is it's a version of like a Taco John's. Have you ever been to a Taco John's?
Yeah.
Yeah, you go once and you're like
6-pack and a pound, baby.
6-pack and a pound, baby. When you are dirt poor and you can't afford, you go there, right? Tasty Tacos is they're clean. You walk into a Tasty Tacos, you are into Tasty Tacos. They've nailed it. They're staying in their lane, baby.
If you can't tell by Ross, he's very passionate about the Tasty Taco. And even if you go on his Twitter page, he's got a step-by-step on how to put the sauce on. You open the taco. I think you retweeted it. Yeah. You open the taco, sauce on both sides, close the taco, sauce on top, and then sauce on each bite.
You hold the sauce bottle in your hand as you eat the taco. You take a bite, you sauce it. You take a bite, you sauce it. Just my preference.
It is the Rush Radio Show at therushladio.com. Ross, I'm going to get on a plane tonight. I will be off tomorrow, and then I will be back in the home studio on Wednesday as we get back to normal.
Perfect. All right. We're going to hope to have Justin Miller with us tomorrow. If not, we'll figure some stuff out.
It is the Rush Radio Show at therushladio.com. Talk to you tomorrow at 6 a.m.
Spring is in the air and the perfect time to take care of your vehicle. Your car has worked hard all winter. Now it's time to give it the care it deserves. Did you know spark plugs should be replaced every 60,000 miles on some newer turbocharged vehicles? Also, carbon deposits on the valves can disrupt the airflow of the engine. These simple services can keep your engine running smoothly, ensure you start every adventure with confidence. Visit Willis Chevrolet today and make sure your car is ready for the road ahead.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's $25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge!
Do you have a pest problem? With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
Believe it or not, spring is coming. When it does, be absolutely organized with custom garage or closet systems from Absolute Garage and Closets. Turn a winter mess into a spring success at our showroom in Urbandale or visit absolutegarage.net.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbox to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels. There's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.